Hi, I'm Chris from Switzerland, and for a little over a year now, I've been working alone on my own game, Veyora. And honestly, if someone had told me a few years ago that I would one day be developing my own open-world role-play game, I probably would have laughed. I don't come from the gaming industry. I wasn't a professional developer, a game designer, or a programmer who had been working in studios for years. I knew games from the other side, as a player, as someone who loved diving into worlds, experiencing stories, exploring villages, meeting characters, fighting enemies, gathering resources, building things, and simply disappearing into another world for a few hours. And that feeling is exactly where Veyora started. In the beginning, it was just an idea, a world I wanted to play myself, a medieval world where you don't just run from quest to quest, but where you can actually arrive, settle down, and create your own place. A world where you can build your home, take care of animals, grow crops, explore dungeons, talk to NPCs, trade, fight, and sometimes simply walk through forests, villages, and mountains just to see what waits beyond the next corner. But having an idea is easy. Actually turning it into something real is something completely different. At the start, everything felt overwhelming. Unreal Engine, blueprints, systems, bugs, performance, multiplayer, animations, NPCs, quests, inventory, farming, building. Every single topic became its own little world to understand. Quite often I thought, okay, this can't be that hard. And a few hours later I was still stuck on the same problem. Sometimes it was frustrating, sometimes something finally worked, only for 3 new problems to appear right after. And sometimes, to be honest, I had absolutely no idea why something suddenly stopped working. But I think that's part of the process. I learned to solve one problem at a time, not perfectly, not always elegantly, but step by step. And at some point, an empty landscape slowly turned into a world with roads, buildings, villages, enemies, animals, traders, quests, and places that finally started to feel like Veyora. But the most important step wasn't a feature. The most important step was creating the Steam page. Because the moment Veyora was on Steam, with an actual date, the idea suddenly became a real project. It was no longer something I was working on someday. It was no longer just a dream I could easily put aside. It was out there. People could see it. They could wishlist it. They could ask when it was coming. And honestly, I needed that pressure. Without the Steam page, I probably never would have pushed Veyora this far. There would always have been a reason to wait. One more system to change. One more thing to fix. One more month to learn. One more excuse to say, it's not ready yet. But at some point you have to decide. Either it stays an idea forever, or you actually make it happen. And I wanted to make it happen. In Veyora, you play as the child of someone who left you more than just memories. You enter a world full of stories, villages, inhabitants, traders, enemies, bandits, creatures, and places with their own secrets. It's not only about becoming stronger or finding better gear, it's about building your own place in this world. You can build a base, create a farm, raise animals, gather resources, craft items, trade, fight, explore dungeons, or simply head out and discover what Veyora has to offer. And one thing was especially important to me. I didn't want the world to feel empty. I want there to be something that makes you curious. A village with its own people, a trader with unique goods, a bandit camp in the distance, a hidden place deep in the forest, a cave you maybe shouldn't enter, unprepared. Or just a quiet moment where you stop and think, okay, I want to explore more of this. Veyora is a mix of open-world RPG, farming, survival, and adventure. But for me, more than anything, it is a world that is allowed to grow. And maybe that's the most exciting part of this whole project. It wasn't built inside a big studio. There isn't a huge team behind it. No perfect pipeline. No separate departments for animation, design, sound, story, and programming. Right now, it's just me, a solo developer from Switzerland, who started with an idea a little over a year ago and has been trying to turn that idea into a real game ever since. And yes, it's not always easy. There are bugs, there are setbacks, there are days where it feels like progress is incredibly slow. But then there are also those moments when a new system finally works, when an NPC suddenly does what it's supposed to do, when a quest becomes playable, when a village starts to feel alive, when someone wishlists Veyora on Steam or tells me they're looking forward to playing it, and those moments make it all worth it. So this video is not just a normal devlog, it's also a small look behind the scenes. How Veyora started, why I began working on it, what the game is supposed to become, and how a simple idea slowly turned into a playable world. I know there is still a lot of work ahead, but I also know that Veyora is already much further than I ever imagined when I first started. And if you want to follow this journey, I would really appreciate it if you wishlisted Veyora on Steam, joined the Discord, or simply followed the next updates. Because Veyora is not finished yet, but the world is already alive, and this is only the beginning.